You have been selected. I trust that this message is going out to those that need to hear it, the VIPs, the very important priestesses that are rising in their sacred feminine energy. You have been selected and you have been upgraded. Your life is about to upgrade in a way that is beyond what you have been trying to figure out or plan for or even consciously aware of. And it's because you have arrived as the vessel. You have arrived as the vessel. This is what I was hearing. You have arrived as the vessel. You have been upgraded. You have been selected. This is for a very ancient, advanced starseed soul that has incarnated in the feminine form. Very specific message here. Not every starseed soul is at this level because not all have done the purification that you've done. Not all have walked the path of initiation the way you have. Not all have done the inner alchemy, and not all have calibrated the body and the vessel in order to hold the frequency that is now being activated within you. But you have, which is why you're listening to this, you are a very small percentage that are ready to rise into your feminine leadership, your sacred feminine leadership. And this is being recorded in May 2026. The end of this month, there is a blue moon, and this energy has been culminating throughout the whole month. Building. There's been a momentum that's been building, an acceleration that's been building throughout the month of May. Starting with the full moon on the 1st in Scorpio that has illuminated a lot of the shadow and places where you were still playing small and the last remnants of the old survival identity that needed to be purged. The other message that's coming through is that you have been on a threshold, you are crossing that threshold, you have already crossed that threshold. There is a door opening. There are possibly many doors opening. God is opening many doors. Your life is being upgraded in some way. And the message is you can trust what God is opening for you. This is you really being connected to the divine, and you already know this. So I'm confirming what you already know. God is opening doors for you because of your level of devotion and your ability and capacity to hold what comes next, which is a higher level of responsibility, a higher level of visibility, a higher level of leadership, more wealth and abundance and resources and partnerships and all of the things. You are now able to hold them with a level of integrity. The other thing that's coming through is your integrity has been tested quite a bit. If this message is for you, this is how you'll know. Your integrity has been tested quite a bit, and you have been incorruptible. You have been incorruptible. You have chosen the higher path, even when it was at your own personal expense. You have been incorruptible. You have arrived as a clear vessel. You have arrived as the vessel. You have been emptied out. God has emptied you out and now can fulfill through you divine will, which means there is going to be a lot of things flowing into your experience, including sacred masculine energy, which is going to come in many forms, including a divine counterpart, provision, partnerships, collaborations, opportunities, things that bring stability, structure, foundation, and protective energy that helps create a container for you to continue to rise and thrive into your leadership. You are a visionary. You are here to make a big impact. You are a leader. You were born to lead. You were born for these times, and you have been like a sleeper cell that has been activated over a decade ago on this path of initiation and purification and alchemy. And now you have been prepared for this very moment in time right now in human history as we move through the rest of 2026. And the other thing that's coming through is 2027, 2028 is going to be a shit show for a lot of people. I'm just going to say that. And if you're watching this in 2007, 2028, you can drop it in the comments if you happen to land on this. But here's the thing. I'm speaking to the new earth leaders in this, or you may resonate with this transmission because you are moving on this trajectory and you're on this ascension timeline and you are a sacred feminine leader and you are moving through this process of purification at some level. we have entered the age of Aquarius, the age of information, and for example, AI has taken has spiked a lot in the last 2 to 3 years, especially in the last year, where now it is even very hard to discern, or at least getting increasingly harder to discern between truth and illusion, right? Like you can see videos and audios and written material about, that has never been created by a human and completely like mimic a human, right? And so it is going to be increasingly difficult for the years to come to be able to discern between truth or illusion. And the only faculty you'll be able to rely on is your own inner wisdom. This is why the feminine receptive energy and intuitive capacity is so important as we move through this next phase, this next transition phase is what this really is. This is a transition phase into New Earth. You are leading New Earth, but humanity in general is going through a huge transition and a huge Kundalini awakening on the world stage. The other thing that's been coming up, which you have already experienced or witnessed to some level, even though it's probably not part of your direct experience because you're not a frequency match for it, is there has been a lot of disclosure and a lot of shadow and a lot of purging happening on the collective world stage. So a lot of things that have been tucked under the rug, so to speak, that have been rooted in fear, greed, manipulation, fear-based consciousness, and all the things, the ugliness, the shadow of humanity has been rising. And this is due to the light that's rising that is illuminating the shadow. And that purge is happening on a global scale. So there is, out of all the souls that have incarnated on this planet right now during this time, not one did not know what they were getting into when they incarnated. It's all part of the grand tapestry, but there's a lot of purging happening and a lot of disclosure happening, and that is going to continue. So it's going to get more and more confusing. More and more shit will hit the fan. More and more people will be lost in fear-based consciousness. You are here to be the lighthouse. You can't be the lighthouse if you can't hold the capacity to anchor the frequency into the actual vessel and hold the frequency of the Christed frequency, meaning you are one with the divine. And this is what you are moving into right now. This is what you've been purifying for. This is what you've been calibrating to. This is all you have been prepared for, this moment right now. It's going to get confusing for a lot of people, even more so than it already is, with AI confusing the mix of what is true and what is illusion. It's going to be even more confusing. And the only thing that you're going to be able to rely on is your own knowing. And a lot of people are disconnected from that knowing and disconnected from their intuition. But you, on this ascension timeline, here to lead New Earth, incarnating in the feminine form, which has a heightened capacity for intuition and receptivity, and a nervous system that's able to hold the frequency. If you've been calibrating your nervous system, you are here to lead New Earth. The feminine will lead the New Earth paradigm. The masculine energy is going to take its place as the supportive structure that allows the feminine to rise into her leadership. So the masculine, the distorted masculine template, the wounded masculine energy, the old earth masculine template has been healed, and there are sacred masculine energies rising up now within the male form that are going to be playing a very devotional role to the sacred feminine. So this is not, we're not discounting masculine energy. It's very necessary. It's a very important role, but it's no longer going to be distorted, and it's going to be supporting the feminine. The feminine leads this new paradigm. The heart leads. The masculine is very externally focused in 3D reality and very tied to the egoic will. And that's okay. It's very singularly focused. It's very much designed to function in a way that provides a certain level of like structure and foundation and action oriented and things like that. The feminine is very receptive. It represents the subtle realm. It represents the intuitive capacity and the receiving energy, receiving the divine impulses, the creative insights, right? everything that's ever been created has first come through the feminine, and then masculine has given it form. So masculine is about giving it form. This is the authentic expression. This is the stability, the structure, the container that allows the feminine to thrive. And so we are now moving into sacred feminine and sacred masculine energy, coming into union for those that are here to lead. There are still those that are playing around in the distorted cycles, and that's fine. That's part of the process. If that is where you're at right now, and you're here, and this is still landing for you, it's because this is the trajectory that you're on. But you're not going to be able to move into your sacred feminine leadership and embodiment if you're still giving away your power, you're self-abandoning, you're chasing, seeking validation outside of yourself, or you're just sitting there pining away for some romantic partner to come back into your life and all the things. The original wounding on this journey was meant to break you open. If you are not able to see through the codependent patterns and codependent energy and the way that you're giving your power away on a regular basis, then you will stay looping in old distorted cycles until you're able to rise above that. And this isn't judgment. We've all been there. If you are truly on the divine feminine journey, your abandonment wounds have been triggered like no other. This is the core wound of unworthiness, which is just rooted in separation consciousness. And your abandonment wounds have been triggered, but that was to wake you up so you could come home to yourself and stop seeking outside of yourself. So embodied sovereignty, like I said in the previous transmission, is the foundation for everything. Whether, everything, right? The purpose, the prosperity, the divine partnerships, the counterparts, like all the thing. Embodied sovereignty is the base of that. If you're still giving your power away, then you are in the distorted cycles. If you're still seeking proof outside of yourself, if you're still worried about whether or not your twin flame is going to come back, then you're missing the point of this entire initiation that you're on right now. And I say this with love, but this is your wake-up call. Like, you don't have to continue looping in cycles of suffering. You can choose to take the sovereign path, and embodied sovereignty is the foundation for everything moving forward. And those that are resonating with this message, that are moving into their highest timeline, you've already done this. You have embodied you are embodying your divine sovereignty. You've done the purification and all of the alchemy. You are now being elevated and upgraded. And there are doors opening for you that are going to require your trust, your faith, and your courage. And you will know that they are meant for you through resonance. There will possibly, this is coming up, there could be doors opening that are not in your highest alignment, and they could be like temptation. And you'll know because it'll feel as if it's saving you somehow. That's not the door that you want to go down. That's a test. And I hate to say the word test, but you can't be easily swayed by temptation on this path. You must be truly grounded and anchored in divine sovereignty and union with the God that dwells within your heart, and be fully devoted to the mission that you know you're here to serve and be a vessel for. And if you easily bite the carrot of temptation, then you are not ready yet. You're not purified. You haven't been emptied out enough as a vessel for God to use you, because you would be too easily hooked by the ego. Okay? So the doors that open for you that feel like resonance in your heart and soul are the doors God is opening for you. And then the other messages that, sorry, it looks like I'm not wearing anything, but I am. It's just a nude colored tank. You can trust and know that the same God that purified you and prepared you, the divine that's walked with you this entire time, is the same God that's opening those doors, and it's the same God that's going to be able to walk you through what's on the other side, because the doors that are opening are huge. Whoever's listening to this, the doors that are opening are huge. Your life is being upgraded in a major way. You're a very important priestess. You play a very important pivotal role in your feminine leadership right now as we shift into new earth, and you are being elevated. There's a divine elevation happening. So the roles, the doors, the opportunities, whatever's coming in for you is going to be big, and it could scare you, which is why I was saying trust and know that you've been prepared for this. Like, you can handle any door that's opening, that is opened, that is in resonance with your heart. This is a door that God is opening, and you are meant to walk through it with courage, trust, and faith. And the same God that walked you through that door and prepared you for it prior to this is the same one that's going to be there walking you through it on the other side. You've never done this alone. You've been on this path of purification and initiation, never alone. Not once have you been alone, and you're not going to be alone moving forward, and you can handle whatever on the other side. So I think that's about it. I think that's the message that wanted to come through. This is a little shorter than normal, which is good because I've recorded a few that have been too long for me to get off my phone. It's been a nightmare with the whole technology piece of that when they're too long. So I know I talk fast. I hope this resonated. If it did resonate and you know that this was for you, drop a comment. Let's just say Sacred Feminine Rising in the comment. If you've made it all the way through and you know that this is for you, drop Sacred Feminine Rising in the comments. And if you want support on your journey because you're anywhere else on this path and you know that you are, the divine feminine path of awakening, self-actualization, alchemy, embodiment, and leadership, and really rising into your power. If you want support with that, then you can check out the link wherever you're listening to this. There's opportunities to work together, both in group and a few spots in one-on-one. But yeah, last thing I was going to say is, especially if you find yourself on the threshold of anchoring in your divine identity and you're shedding so much, but it's still not landing in the 3D, that is because it needs to be able to anchor in the vessel, which is why your nervous system, which is actually the infrastructure that holds the frequency that you're here to anchor as a new earth leader, it also is. So you got to think of your nervous system as like this electrical structure, right? Like, it needs to be calibrated. This is the other thing that came up I forgot to share. Our modern society, which is operating primarily from distorted masculine energy, right? Hustle, go, work really hard, focus on the external outcome, forget the body, forget listening to your intuition, just get the result, blah, 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 which is why so many, especially women in the feminine form, burn out, completely are disconnected from their body and their intuition and their nervous system. So the entire world form is designed to keep you from being calibrated in the body, right? So whether it's TV programming, numbing out, distractions, social media scrolling, workplace environments, corporate grind, hustle culture, all of it is designed to keep you from being anchored here in your body and calibrated with a nervous system that is here to receive. That's the reason one of my programs, my group containers, is called Nervous System Rich, because in order for you to live the rich, abundant, prosperous life leading from your sacred feminine power, you have to be anchored in the vessel. Everything happens here in the vessel. This is the priestess path that you are on. It has to be anchored here. Your body is the temple. Your body is the bridge. Your body is the portal that all of this happens through. Your awakening can't be like airy-fairy and just hanging out in the mental realm or hanging out in the the upper chakras. It has to be grounded in through the body, and only when it grounds through the body, this waking down, this embodiment, can it be birthed into form. So it is like a direct metaphor and mirror of what you are not able to integrate into the vessel, what you're seeing out there. Like, the world is a mirror, right? So you have to be able to be anchored in the vessel. So if this is calling to you and you know that this is your next step, I'm saying that this is not only important in 2026, but as more disclosure happens and more of the world is adjusting to this basically Kundalini awakening on the world stage, and the more shadows are being illuminated, and the harder it is to discern between truth and illusion, there's a lot of people that are not going to be able to handle it because their nervous system is not calibrated to and it's calibrated to chaos, and then you layer on more chaos and you're just going to get more chaos, right? So it is really those that have calibrated their nervous system over time in order to continuously receive the higher frequency and ground that and anchor that into the earth grid. Like that is part of what your mission is right now, right? So nervous system rich, if you're interested, that is a group container. It's very intimate. I cap it at 13. 13 is the number for the sacred feminine. It is only for women. For those that are on the threshold and they're anchoring in their divine identity, calibrating to divine identity coherence, they're shedding away, they're on the threshold, like the old world is falling away, and they're here to anchor in their new earth reality in the body. So it is a 40-day devotion, 40 days, calibration portal for up to 13 women. There is a community that you'll have access to for ongoing support, but there's weekly calls with me to calibrate. And also I'm keeping it intimately capped at 13 because I want to be able to work through individually, while in a group container, everyone through the individual identity shift that's happening. So it's personalized. I bring through messages that are personally meant for you, because we are one, we are connected, and I'm connected and you're connected. We're all one. So as the sacred mirror, I bring through the messages that you need to hear that are going to activate the remembrance within you. And I do that within a group container, because when you bring like-minded high frequency souls, this is a 5D calibration space, in one container, the collective amplifies the field, and you literally amplify your magnetism by being in a high frequency space with other souls that are also vibrating at that frequency, right? And so you have the power of the collective, you have the power of community, and the power of coming together in a 5D calibration space with other people that literally amplify your magnetism. But you still get the one-on-one within the group container. And so this is not a healing space, in quotation marks. If you're on the podcast, you can't see me, but like, this is not a healing space. This is not bring all your dramas and traumas, right? This is like, you've already purified that. You've already alchemized that. If anything comes up, it'll come up and it'll be released. It's not a big deal. This is a 5D calibration space for sacred feminine visionary leaders that are here to anchor in their highest timeline and anchor it in the body and in the vessel. So not only are you going to have weekly calibration calls with me and a community where I'm active as well throughout the 40 days, but you're also going to have a sacred devotion practice, because this happens in the body. This isn't just like sit back and just like your awakening, your embodiment happens on its own. No, you are here to be an active participant. The sacred devotion is going to be a full 40-day sacred devotion where you're going to be immersing yourself through a lot of different somatic exercises and practices, including Kundalini activation, breath work, and sacred feminine flow movement, and what I refer to as sacred wealth walks. This is where you're going to be dropping into divine identity and being immersed in nature while doing it. So even if you live in an urban setting, I did this for 3 years in the North Scottsdale, total urban setting, but I still was able to do this with a little trail around my community. So whether it's a park, whether it's, your neighborhood, whether it's a forest or a lake or wherever you're at, you will be calibrating your nervous system in nature with a sacred devotion for 40 days, meeting with me on a weekly basis and having a community to support you. So if that resonates and you want access to that, you can find the link to request a call wherever you're listening to this. This will give us an opportunity to explore to make sure nervous system rich is right for you. However, I do honor the full body fuck yes. So if you already know that this is for you, all you have to do is send me a DM on Instagram at Spiritual CEO and just tell me you're in and you want the link for nervous system rich, and I'll get you the link. But if you're curious and you want to explore it, then you can book an exploratory call and we can talk about it. And it's completely complimentary. You just have to go on my website to request the call. So I think that's it for now. If you have any questions, DM me, let me know. And again, if you made it all the way to the end here, drop Sacred Feminine Rising in the comments. You are definitely here as part of this collective. And if you are here as a gender male, I love you. You're part of this collective as well. there's a very devotional role. We are rising together, and there is a very devotional role in this that you play as well, that is not being downplayed. It is not easy to carry the karmic debt and the karmic load that every masculine has carried from what has transpired over the last several thousand years to the sacred feminine, right? And so we are all walking this path together of purification, and now it is time to rise together. And there's a certain wave of the collective that is rising right now. And if this is resonating with you, then that is you. And your leadership role moving forward now is going to be undeniable, and you can expect more mission clarity to be coming through. Last thing I'll share, this is for the ancient advanced starseed souls. If you resonated with this and you still, like, it just resonates with you to want to meet in person, I did open up an immersion in Mount Shasta. That's a very significant location to activate the remembrance within you for the mission that you have incarnated with. So the frequency of that is going to be very, very potent. And if you want access to that, right now it's early bird pricing. So you can check out the link wherever you're listening to this, and check out the Mount Shasta Immersion, which is going to be on Lionsgate Portal on August 8th, that weekend. I think it's the 7th and the 8th. I think the 7th is a Friday and the 8th is a Saturday. So check that out, and let me know if you have any questions on Instagram. You can send me a DM. Okay. I think that's it for now. I hope this finds you well. Namaste.